DJ, you go crazy.
DJ UTV, let them know who we got in the building.
Lollipop.
Lollipop Beatz, what you on, gang?
It's crazy hearing your intro. I love your intro.
I appreciate that. Welcome to DJ UTV. It's definitely a blessing to have you. Welcome to Chicago. How you doing this afternoon?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm just happy to be here. I wanted to come for so many years, so I feel like I'm home.
So correct me if I'm wrong. This your first time in Chicago?
Yeah, first time.
Okay, that's what's up. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Thank
You've been
you.
doing your thing. You've been doing your thing with the beats for so long. We thought you were from Chicago, working with all these Chicago artists and making all these drill beats. So tell us like how impactful or influential Chicago has been for yourself.
It's been everything, really. My main audience has always been from Chicago. I started with Chief Keef type beats, so naturally, I guess mostly Chicago artists were searching up Chief Keef type beat, and then just over the years, I just got more and more people on my beats, some small, some bigger, and yeah, that's kind of my sound, like inspired by Chief Keef, the Chicago drill kind of trap. I try to make it my own a little bit, but yeah, Chicago has always shown me the most love, so it's fire to finally be here and actually link with people I've been working with online. And yeah, just get in the studio with artists as well.
That's what's up. And congrats on all of your success. You've been doing an amazing job. You've been getting great placements. And I could tell you've been actually enjoying what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. Yeah. Thank you.
For sure. So before we, get into all of your musical accomplishments, we would like to know more about Lollipop Beatz behind the keyboard, right? So can you first start by telling us where you're from?
I'm from London, North London. And yeah, now I just live a little bit out of London, but born in North London, England.
Okay. And can you tell us what it was like growing up in London?
It's cool. I just had a good childhood. My parents have really cared for me. I felt like loved, protected. I don't know. Yeah, it was good. I went to decent school. I didn't really know what anywhere else was like. Obviously, I do prefer being out here and stuff. But growing up in London, I mean, yeah, I can't complain. I've been lucky to have just a good family and people around me. So it was all good.
So when you were growing up, what was some music that your parents were playing in the household?
My mum likes, I don't know if you know Luther Vandross.
Of course I know Luther Vandross.
That's a bit of a stupid question, yeah. Just like old kind of, I don't know if you call that soul.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like your mama got a little soul in her.
Yeah, she liked that, and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Okay.
But yeah, I just remember listening to like Katy Perry, Selena Gomez, One Direction. My dad likes rock. He was in a band, played guitar. But yeah, I don't really remember him playing music.
So it sounds like you come from a music background of different genres. Soulful music, rock, hip hop, stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So when did you first get the ideas of making beats? Like who inspired you to make beats? How old were you? Stuff like that.
I just remember getting into rap in like 2017, 2018. And for me, that was like the height of hip hop. Those beats, I was just like, I didn't like the song if I didn't like the beat. And I caught myself just focusing on the beat. But I didn't really ever think about what a producer was. I was learning the lyrics to Father Stretch My Hands by Kanye, and the intro with Metro Boomin's Tag was like my favorite part. And then I thought, what does that mean? And then that's how I kind of first heard about a producer being Metro, obviously a GOAT. And I just found like these YouTube videos called Genius Deconstructed, and it would be these big producers breaking down songs. It'd say they use, what software they're using. So I downloaded FL Studio, and I just got obsessed. I was watching all these videos about beats and producing, and I was just like, okay, I had nothing else really better to do. I was like 18, 19, and then I went like full time at the start of 2020 because of COVID. I had nothing else better to do.
So what was like the drill music influence on your community growing up? I know Chief Keef was, obviously worldwide when he came out, and we do have a UK drill, category. So can you tell us like how did that play out in London?
I was not really put on to the kind of drill. I've mainly listened to American music, so I'm not really tapped in with the UK scene, but I'd say like 2018, 2019 is when I think London drill was kind of, or just UK drill was at its highest peak, whatever. Artists like Digga D. People are going to like say that those are the more mainstream artists, so I'm trying to think of like the real UK drill. But for sure, like the Central C, yeah, but that's not like drill, I don't think. There's like probably a lot smaller artists that were coming up that I just don't really know about because I've never really tapped in with the UK drill scene. But the mainstream is like Digga D, Russ Millions, like OFB. They're a big group. I think, most of them are locked up now. I don't want to speak on too much that I don't know, but for sure Chief Keef influenced that sound for sure.
Okay, so is there a reason why you haven't worked with UK drill artists?
I just like to make what I like to listen to, and I've just always been more of the US scene. I like a few UK artists, more melodic, like D Block Europe. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's kind of like the Gunna style of the UK. Aside from that, I don't really listen to, I just prefer listening to US music, and I think it's a way bigger market.
As far as traveling to the US is concerned, can you tell us which different cities have you already visited and, your experience with America so far?
So I've been to LA, Atlanta, Miami, New York, and now Chicago, which is the main 5 places that I wanted to visit. So it's crazy that I can say that I've been to all 5. LA was cool. There's a lot of labels there and just the place is nice, but it's just too much traffic and everything's too far away. So I was like, eh. But that kind of eased me into Atlanta because we went from LA to Atlanta, and Atlanta was like, boom, damn, like everyone's just grinding. There's so many producers there. I absolutely loved it. I'd say out of all the places I've gone to, Atlanta and Chicago, definitely my favorites. I feel like they're quite similar as well. Just, I know the most amount of people over here. So, I was so excited mostly to come to Chicago out of any of the other places. And just, there's so many people here, producers, and everyone knows each other. And although London's small, it just doesn't feel the same where everyone's just connected like that and linking up all the time. Atlanta and Chicago, my favorites.
For sure. Now I seen you, via Instagram. I saw that you linked up with not JB, excuse me. You linked up with Lady Bin Laden and Aspen Cartier, the 2 young ladies known as Queen Dracos, my bounce out clap 'em shawties.
Yeah.
How was that experience last night in the studio with them?
Yeah, that was fire. I've been seeing them around like online, and I was like, we've got to do a studio session. We made like 3 or 4 songs. They were kind of disagreeing on the beats, but Lady Bin Laden did, I think, 2 on her own, and then they did 2 others, and it was just fire. My first artist that I worked with over here in person. They're both going crazy, and like in a short amount of time as well, they've gone up.
Yeah, shout out to them too. We've interviewed them a couple times now, and
I
they
saw.
have great energy, and we really like, the potential that these young ladies are carrying, with the rap game nowadays, and now they get to work with superstar producers like yourself. I think you're like, I mean, I don't know, is there any other female producer as hard as Lollipop Beatz?
Yes, there's loads. Well, I say loads compared to, the ratio is like probably 0.5% female, but no, there's for sure a bunch of fire ones. There's a girl called Hit Girl in LA, and she's fire. She's probably like, I'd say, the hardest.
Shout out to all the ladies doing their thing. So, since we are here and we are talking about music, we talking about beats, we talking about drill, can we please get the Lollipop Beatz top 5 drill rappers of all time?
Ooh. Chief Keef, G Herbo, Lil Durk. Do these count as drill? Like Chicago drill? Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah, Chief Keef, G Herbo, Lil Durk, King Von. Damn. Fifth one.
Got one more.
Who's a legend? I can't think. That's like my top 4. In Chicago specifically, yeah, that I can't think of anyone else. But I know there's lots that I'm missing. Huh?
For number 5, we'll just put MAF Teeski.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, he's got to be number 1. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Tiski.
Yeah, shout out to Tiski.
Okay, cool. So Chief Keef, G Herbo, Lil Durk, King Von, MAF Teeski. We put MAF Teeski on the list because that is someone who you've made great music with already. You all have great chemistry as far as artists and producers concerned. And also, via MAF Teeski, you were able to get G Herbo to land on one of your beats, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, about your experience working with MAF Teeski and how it led to G Herbo and if it led to any other doors open.
So, yeah, he got my beats off of YouTube, and I didn't know because obviously when you post, you don't know who's finding you. But I just found his Instagram, I think, through another producer, and he had like 20K followers, something like that. And I reached out to him saying, "You're fire, let's work." And he said, "Oh, I've been getting your beats from YouTube. I've done a bunch of songs." And then that's when we kind of like properly locked in. I was just sending him anything. And yeah, his early catalog was basically all me. We've got so many old songs. And then he made I Like It, which is my biggest song that I produced. And I think it's his second biggest. That was in like 2022, maybe. And then after that, he started going up. And we finally got to link in Atlanta last year. But still, since then, he's gone up a lot more. But it's hard, like, properly locking in when I'm obviously in London in my bedroom and he's out here. So even through that, like, we've just gained this, like, love for each other. I've gone up a lot because of him, and I produced a lot of his big songs. And as he's starting to work with other bigger artists like G Herbo, he hopped on the beat, and that was crazy because obviously I love G Herbo. And yeah, I started crying when I found out he hopped on the beat. It just meant a lot, and it was a fire collab because Tiski at that time wasn't really doing that many kind of features or collabs. But yeah, I just keep sending him beats, and I've been not making that many beats this year, so we've got less recent stuff, but I'm hoping he's coming out to Chicago soon so we can lock in. But yeah, I'm not leaving Chicago until we do another session.
That's what's up. Shout out to MAF Teeski. I heard you mention that you started crying when you heard G Herbo on your beat.
Yeah.
And so that sound like tears of joy.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
So can you tell us the feeling of chasing dreams and then watching those dreams unfold right in front of your face?
It's a crazy feeling, especially I still feel like I'm just starting, even though I've been doing it for 5 years. But because I've isolated myself so much, like just mainly being in my room doing it, you forget that, it's real people and it's like really rewarding when you're just making beats in your room and you start from zero. And then you're getting recognition from artists that you love and getting artists on your beats. Like, it's still, whenever I hear someone on my beat, I'm like, damn, they've used a beat that I've created all by myself or, from scratch. And just manifesting like things like reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've always kind of manifested, and I didn't really know exactly what I wanted, but I just like keep going. There's no kind of limit. So to be able to achieve things, I'm still like in shock. Even if someone says that they know me or, I'm like, it still blows my mind because you see these numbers on your screen, like followers, but you don't visualize people in person. Like if I picture all my TikTok followers in person, like that would be nuts. It's like multiple stadiums, which is just crazy. So it is so rewarding.
For sure. So how does your parents feel about all of your success now?
They're very happy for me. I couldn't wish for like more supportive parents, especially my mum. I used to tell her every morning, I'd used to update her how many views I'd got the day before, my type beats, and how many sales I'd made. As she'd write on like her calendar if I'd made a sale like every day or every time. She's been super on top of it. And even my grandparents as well. My grandma, every time I saw her, she would say, play me all your beats you made this week. She would say, oh, this one's my favorite. Like, this is every week for like years she would do that. So they're all so happy just that I'm happy and doing something that I love. And, it took them a while to get used to obviously the industry and just me actually getting to meet these people. But I've told them that people treat me with respect and, people are there to work. It's not kind of, it's hard to explain to them, but they understand. They've got a really good understanding of the industry. Some parents have no clue, but yeah, I'm very grateful that they've even let me kind of do this and just follow my dreams.
Yeah, tell us how important it is to have that family support, right? Sometimes it feel like family and friends be the last to support, right? Like, it's always strangers that'll root you on, but somehow, some way, you will have a cousin or two that's kind of hating. But it sounds like you've had your family, there with you this whole time. So tell us how important that was.
It's super important because some people, will say, oh, producing's not a real job. Some parents don't let their kids go ahead and pursue it because they say, oh, you need to be a doctor, you need to do this. But when you prove to them that you can be successful and you're just doing something that you love and you can make it your career, it's important to have that because you have to believe in yourself, and then it will make it 10 times harder if no one else is believing in you. So as long as you've got someone to kind of tell them, oh, this happened, this person hopped to my beat. Like for me, I don't really tell my friends because they have no understanding of it. It's probably not of that much interest to them. They do, when I say, oh, I'm coming out to America and doing this, they're like, that's great. But it's mostly my parents, my brother, my cousins that I tell everything to. But yeah, it's really hard you have to prove to people first. My parents for sure were a bit like uncertain of if I could make this a career or if it was the right thing for me. But once you prove it to them, then they're like fully on board.
That's what's up. So tell us though, like, is there a culture shock when you come visit America from London? Like, do you feel weird? Are you nervous? Like, what's some of your emotions traveling this far?
I'm so used to working with Americans and just I grew up watching American TV shows, so I feel like I'm tapped in, but obviously you don't know what it's like until you're here exactly. I feel like in Atlanta, I was looking around like this is a little bit sketchy, like where our Airbnb was. But I don't really feel nervous in terms of who I'm going to meet. It's more, for me, if I'm in the studio, like my nerves are just, am I going to perform well? Are they going to like my beats? I've never felt scared. Like there could be 20 people in the room, like all rappers, and they might give me funny looks or whatever. I've never been made to feel uncomfortable. I love America. I wouldn't move out here full time, but I was saying after a few days in Chicago, I want to be here. We went to downtown yesterday and I really liked it. And I know I haven't seen all of Chicago, but I just love America. So I'm like super happy every time I'm here. I feel like I'm in my element.
That's what's up. One thing I've been doing lately in my interviews, I wasn't able to do in the beginning of ours. I like to do a mental health check-in, right? So, besides the music, besides, all of the goals and dreams, like when you go home and you all alone, how's your mental health? How are you feeling mentally?
I'm at a very good point. I'm pretty good at looking after myself mentally, not so much physically. But before I did music, I was not in a good place because I'd finished school, everyone was going to university, everyone kind of knew what they wanted to do with their life, and I had no idea. So for me, 2019 was a really bad year. But luckily, the beats came in and COVID gave me that time to just work, and it's so satisfying, like watching it grow, because I'm very determined. So there's definitely months where I'm not feeling so good, not feeling so motivated, but really my only stresses in life is how the producing is going. There's some family stuff, like my dog passed away last year, so that kind of made me go a little bit downhill, just in terms of my motivation. But life happens. But
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, life happens, and the beats is always there. It's easy for me to just be at home and do it in my own time. And I get overwhelmed a lot. Like it's taken a lot for me to kind of adjust to the industry, and even coming out here, it's like a lot of pressure. But the second I get here, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm meant to be. And just as long as stay positive, and most of the time I'm doing good. I know how to kind of look after myself.
Yeah, America is crazy, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you like it, and I'm also glad that you are able to point out, when you are stressed, and I know you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't, indulge in any of those vices, right? So can you tell us, how do you deal with stress and how do you cope, whenever you feeling down?
I just either take some time out, just chill with my family, my friends, basic stuff, or just I kind of sometimes talk to myself, which sounds sad, but just like I'll feel stressed for no reason sometimes, or worried if I've got a lot to do, or before a session, again, it's like the pressure is, am I gonna perform well? Am I gonna be able to make beats like fast on the spot? Are they gonna like my beats? And I've had to kind of adjust because I'm such a shy person, or I used to be. And this industry, you have to be a certain type of person. So I've had to change a lot to be able to work with people and be in this industry. I'm just not used to the rapper lifestyle, the studio. I don't smoke, I don't drink, but that doesn't bother me. People, that is the industry. I knew what I signed up for. But it's just making sure I feel comfortable, or, if I didn't want to go somewhere, a lot of the times when I was starting out, like if I felt too nervous to go to studio, I would, say I'm just not feeling it. Even the late nights is super hard to kind of get used to. I struggle to wake up today, but I'm here And it's just now that I've had enough practice and I'm used to coming out on these trips, it's helped with my confidence so much.
Tell us, you were just touching on, it sounds like some challenges you might face, dealing with rappers, like you said, being in the studio and stuff like that. I know from interviewing rappers that these are a difficult group of men to work with sometimes. So tell us some challenges you face. So tell us some pros and cons of being a producer.
For me, it's just that everyone's unorganized and you never know, you could say pull up to the studio at 8 and you could book out the studio, it'd be expensive and you're ready and then they just don't turn up because they don't know what they're doing, hour to hour and they're just out all the time. And it's hard to kind of lock in with a lot of people. It's just the uncertainty, like, what am I doing later? I don't know. And that really bothers me because I like to be organized, but I'm kind of used to it now. So it's mostly that, and just sometimes it can be hard working with them, or I get quite, stressed under pressure. I'm not that quick. Like, it takes me so long to do everything. So if they were not happy with the beat, I've never really been in that situation before where I've had to kind of go through like hundreds of beats and they weren't feeling any, that would probably stress me out. But just rappers, I don't know. It's just, they're so messy. But that, I knew that. So it's not a shock. It's just hard to, it's easier for me just sending out beats, which is mostly what I do. But you can't compare it to actually working with people in person, especially if they're, with it and they're not like completely out of it and they tell you what they want and, just communicate. 'Cause it's hard sometimes when they don't even communicate with you and what they want. And yeah, I just had to adjust as well, just looking natural in the studio. Because obviously I kind of stick out or people look at me like, who's this girl? But most of the time people are cool with me.
Yeah, you're a cool girl, I could tell. So as far as the business is concerned, have you made it to where you are able to make a living off of your production?
Yes, luckily. London's really expensive, obviously, and I'm lucky that I still live at home with my parents, so I'm not living like a full-on adult yet. But yeah, since like I started posting and selling beats online, it's done pretty good. So I'm very blessed that I can do it full time.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'll give you some advice. Stay with your parents as long as you can stay with them. Save as much money as you can. So when you're ready to move out, it'll be a smooth transition.
Yeah.
That's what's up, Lollipop Beatz. So tell us about some rappers that you have yet to work with that you would really love to get in the studio with and create some magic with.
My number one, I always say, is Future, because, I started listening to him at the beginning and that's kind of through his producers what got me into making beats. So that would probably be up there with Chief Keef, both of them as like the GOATs for me. That would be crazy. Also Lil Durk, I know he's locked up though. A lot of these guys, it's hard, for me to even imagine being able to get in the studio with them. Lil Baby, Travis Scott, anyone really. I'm down to work with anyone.
That's what's up. I think you got a great future. I think you would land all of those placements. I don't see anything standing in your way. So if you could look ahead, probably like 5 years from now, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Damn. Hopefully just living kind of a few months in America, a few months in London, having my own place, still doing the beats, but hopefully some bigger songs, because I've not had like a major song yet. So everyone's trying to chase that one big song. So a bunch of bigger songs, just happy with my life, my family, friends, all happy and healthy. A couple 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Hopefully just keep going. That's all I'm trying to do, is just keep going. I don't know where I want to be, but I know that if I moved out here or was in the US more, I'd be able to achieve things a lot faster.
Talk to us about your friendship with Melody Lena, and how did you all, get so cool?
She hit me up and just said, I'm coming to London. So yeah, we did a session, did a video, and I titled it like Making Beats with My Sister, because everyone thought we were the same person. But she's from Chicago, and obviously I have the British accent, but most people think I'm from Chicago. So until they hear the accent, then they kind of think, oh, they're actually two separate people. But yeah, it was cool. She's crazy on the piano. So we made a few beats. The video did well. Yeah, she's super cool.
So out of all the instruments, which instrument is your favorite to play or even to listen to?
The only one I can play is piano, but like very basic. Most of the time I'm just on my laptop, I choose the instrument and just click it in. Some people don't realize that you don't have to play an instrument to be a producer, or you don't have to have like instruments in person and actually play them. But in my beats, that my favorite to use is like brass, like dark kind of chords, dark piano.
Yeah, that's what's up. You're very, I could tell you're musically inclined, you got a great future. So, hey, I'm excited for you, Lollypop Beatz. I'm glad you're here in Chicago. So what you been doing since you was in Chicago? I know you was in the studio last night. What foods have you been able to check out?
I tried Harold's, but yeah, on my story, everyone was roasting me for not getting wings with the mild sauce. I got lemon pepper tenders. And someone replied to my story saying it looked cancerous, my food. So it was okay. It was like 7 out of 10. But the wings just scared me because I don't want to actually picture that I'm eating a chicken. And I prefer like drumsticks or something. And then I tried Portillo's. That was good. I didn't get hot peppers or whatever. Or cheese sauce. I just got Italian beef sandwich with gravy. It was decent. I give that like an 8 out of 10. And that's all I've tried so far, but yeah, I need to get more recommendations.
You said it was decent. It sounded like you've been in Chicago for a long time. You said it was decent.
That's what we say in the UK.
Okay. Now, so have you had any Chicago pizza since you've been here?
I haven't, no. That's one that I want to try next. What place would you say I got to try it from?
I'm going to recommend Italian Fiesta. That's what I'm going to recommend. But there's so much. You got Beggars, you got Giordano's, you got Home Run Inn. So I really base it off wherever your Airbnb is,
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But I'll text you, some different names, and suggestions and stuff like that.
Okay.
So what all do you plan on accomplishing before leaving Chicago?
Hopefully I can get to go to Summer Smash, which would be crazy because I love my festivals. I'm not leaving until I link with Tiski again, for sure. There's a bunch of other producers that I'm been working with online that I'm going to link with. So just continuing to work with different artists, producers, try more food, Summer Smash. And yeah, it's going so fast. I need to be here for like a month, not 8 days. It's too short.
Yeah, time does fly fast, especially when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about you before we, met. And I'm like, Lollipop What You On gang, that might be a raw-ass producer tag. I think
you might have
hard
to send that to me, a recording of you saying that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I think it'll sound hard on top of your beats. But besides that, Lollipop, what are some things you're looking forward to overall?
Just continuing to grow. it's so satisfying. As I said, starting from zero and just doing something I love and just having more connections, getting more artists that I love on my beats, working with more producers. It's very exciting in general because there's no limit. So it's very freeing. You can just go crazy with it, and who knows, I just want to come on more trips out here because this is where I really lock in and realize, yeah, this is why I've wanted to do this. This is really where it's at for me. London isn't for me, like, in terms of the scene.
Well, yeah, I always recommend anybody, no matter where you're from, to leave your hometown in order to grow. You know, you're going to learn so much about yourself when you're so far away from home and friends and family. You got to figure things out on your own. It makes you a stronger person, you know?
For sure.
So for those that's watching this video and they're pursuing a goal or chasing a dream, they've been hit with obstacles, you know, stuff like that, life happening. What's some advice Lollypop Beatz will leave for them?
I'd say just really enjoy the whole process because it's not meant to be easy. It doesn't just have to be with producing, but just chasing your dreams, or, you know, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It wouldn't feel as satisfying. So really just take your time. Don't try and rush it. Enjoy the beginning. Like when you start off making beats, that whole thing where you don't know what you're doing is probably one of the most fun because you're just learning and you'll never stop learning as well. So really just take your time, enjoy the whole process because it will feel a lot more rewarding when you look back at how far you've come. And just put yourself out there. Don't be scared. Just work on your craft first, and then when you're at a point where you're happy with it, put yourself out there and go crazy. Because if I could do it from my bedroom in London, not having met a single person, you can do it as well.
But that's what's up. We have a future legend sitting right here in our chair. She's already a GOAT. You know, I love the energy. I love the ambition. I love the high frequencies. I love the vibrations. So shout out to you, Lollypop Beatz. Thank you for coming to DJU TV to share your story with us, you know. And we look forward to talking with you again. Before we leave, can you let the people know where to follow you at?
All my socials are at Lollypop Beatz. Lolly with a Y and Beats with a Z.
Well, there y'all have it, man. Lollypop Beatz, DJU TV. Shout out to Word T Production. Shout out to Loose Leaf. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.
DJ, you go crazy.